Hello there, welcome to the news on Nepal television. I am Rosina Rai, starting with the headlines first. Ruling Alliance finalizing draft of government's common minimum program today. Cabinet to be expanded after garnering consensus on common minimum program. 40 killed after fire breakout at a migrant center in Mexico. Blaze reportedly started during a protest by migrants fearing deportation. WHO rises its COVID-19 vaccination recommendation, says older and high-risk groups must get a booster between 6 to 12 months after their last vaccines. And Scotland beats Spain 2-0 in Euro Club qualifiers. Scott McTominay scores both goals for Scotland. Welcome back. Now the news in details. A meeting of top leaders of the ruling coalition to finalize allocation of ministries is underway at the Prime Minister's official residence, Balwatar. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal presented the draft of the government's common minimum program during Tuesday's meeting, and today's meet is likely to endorse the program. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal is preparing to expand the cabinet today itself. Even though Prime Minister Dahal has already taken the vote of confidence, the expansion of the cabinet is being delayed due to the lack of agreement between the parties of the ruling coalition. The ruling coalition includes Nepali Congress, Maoist Center, Rashtriya Swatantra Party, Janata Samajwadi Party, Janamat Party, Nagarik Unmukti Party, Lokatantrik Samajwadi Party, Unified Socialist Party, and others. A meeting of the House of Representatives is taking place at 1 p.m. today. In the meeting, Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal is expected to submit the annual report of the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority 2078-79 BS. Similarly, Minister of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation Sudan Kirati is expected to present the Archives Preservation First Amendment Bill 2077 in Parliament. The government has decided to provide telemedicine service to Nepali migrant workers from today. The workers will get the counseling services for free during Nepali office hours, except public holiday. The Foreign Employment Board informed that considering the health situation and health welfare of Nepali migrant workers, such a service has came to the operation. According to the Executive Director of Board, Dwarika Upreti, Nepali migrant workers seeking the service can obtain the facility by the use of mobile number, Viber, WhatsApp, email and other means of social platforms. After receiving the call, the medical officer of telemedicine will provide expert service every Sunday and Friday on the recommendation of the medical officer. Considering the weekly off, board has been planning to provide the service on following days. We have more updates at the side. Stay with us. Time for a short break. Welcome back. You are on Nepal Television News. Now the remaining updates. The government has annulled the contract of Bhaktapur Nagarkot road section as the road expansion project could not be completed even after extending the deadline for 8 times. The first contract agreement was signed on June 5, 2014 to complete the project by 17th June 2016. However, the government has scrapped the contract after the expansion and maintenance of 15-kilometer long road was not carried out even after extending the deadline several times. The contract for this road was to award it Aravali Infra Power Limited and Sailung Construction Company Private Limited, JV Talsikhel in 2014. Although the contract was assigned for 270 million rupees, it was increased to 310 million rupees through variation orders. Today marks the Chaitya Dasai festival. The day is celebrated on Chaitra Shukla Ashtami, and the shrines of Ganesh Durga sees the influx of devotees since early morning today. Hindus celebrate Dasai twice a year as the victory of divine power over demonic power and the victory over truth. The other Dasai, known as Bara Dasai, is celebrated during Nepali month of Osus of Kartik, and while Chaitya Dasai is celebrated in Nepali month of Chaitra is known as Chaitya Dasai. According to the old saying, earlier the main Dasai used to fall on Chaitra. It is believed that the Dasai has been shifted to the middle of the year due to the drought and change of weather and many people getting sick from eating and working. However, the Chaitya Dasai is not celebrated with pomp and fanfare like Bara Dasai. Now we have updates from International Front Line. At least 40 people have died at a migrant processing center in Mexico in a fire that officials say started during a protest against deportation. Many of the victims had traveled from Central and South America trying to get to the U.S. The blaze at the facility in Ciudad Juarez broke out shortly before 10 p.m. local time on Monday. The city, located across the Rio Grande River from El Paso, Texas, has seen an influx of people in recent weeks. Many have been heading to the U.S. border in expectation of an into Title 42 and pandemic-era policy which gives the U.S. government the power to quickly expel migrants trying to cross its border. We still have more international headliners at the side. Stay with us. Time for a short break again. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now the remaining international headliners. The World Health Organization has tailored its COVID-19 vaccination recommendation for a new phase of the pandemic, suggesting that healthy children and adolescents may not necessarily need a shot, but older high-risk groups should get a booster between 6 to 12 months after their last vaccine. The UN agency said the aim was to focus efforts on vaccinating those facing the greatest threat of severe disease and death from COVID-19, considering the high-level population immunity worldwide due to widespread infection and vaccination. Meanwhile, it said healthy children and adolescents were low priority for COVID-19 vaccination and urged countries to consider factors like disease burden before recommending the vaccination of this group. It said the COVID-19 vaccines and boosters were safe for all ages, but the recommendations took into account other factors like cost effectiveness. Shares of Chinese technology giant Alibaba have jumped after it announced a plan to break up the company. The firm says 5 of the 6 units created by the move will explore raising freeze funding and initial public offering IPO option. Alibaba shares gained more than 14% of New York on Tuesday and were more than 13% higher in Hong Kong on Wednesday. Its U.S.-listed shares have fallen by almost 70% since 2020 on concerns over Beijing's crackdown on the tech sector. The move comes after reports that Alibaba founder Jack Ma, who has rarely been seen in public in the last 3 years, resurfaced in China this week after a long absence. To the more updates before that, let's have a quick look into the highlights at the site. Sensational Scotland took a seismic lead in their bid to reach consecutive European Championship by stunning Spain in a heroic triumph. Scott McTominay crashed in a deflected opener after just 7 minutes. triggering an explosion of noise inside a charged Hampden Park. Steve Clark's team rode their luck to stay ahead at the break, only for McTominay to repeat his earlier feat just after the restart to cause chaos in the stands as well as in the bamboozled Spanish defense. Scotland, in their first competitive victory over Spain for 39 years, now top Group A, 3 points above the humbled Spaniards and 5 in front over struggling Norway. Argentina have capped off their March homecoming with win against Curacao in its second international friendly after lifting World Cup in December. Captain Lionel Messi scored a hat-trick as Argentina notched a 7-0 win against Curacao, win is expected to lift Argentina to the #1 FIFA world ranking from its existing second position. We are almost at the end of this news bulletin, but before we say goodbye, quick reminders of the headlines again. Ruling Alliance finalizing drafts of government's common minimum program. Today, cabinet to be expanded after garnering consensus on common minimum program. 40 killed after fire breakout at a migrant center in Mexico. Blaze reportedly started during a protest by migrants fearing deportation. WHO revises its COVID-19 vaccination recommendation, says older and high-risk groups must get a booster between 6 to 12 months after their last vaccine. And Scotland beats Spain 2-0 in Euro Cup qualifiers. Squad's McTominay scores both goals for Scotland. Well, this is all we have for this moment. Until our next bulletin, have a good day ahead. Namaste.